When people say success is the best revenge, they usually mean it in theory. But in my case, it became real. This is the story of how my own sister once mocked me, handed me a cheap hoodie and a $70 gift card as a pity present, and how I turned that insult into a $6 million luxury brand that she now wishes she never laughed at. It all started 3 years ago. I was 24, broke, and trying to find direction. My sister, Alina, was already at the top. She was a CEO of a well-known fashion company in New York. She was beautiful, confident, and ruthless in business. Everyone admired her success, including me. But she always made sure I remembered that I was the younger one, the one who could never reach her level. I had just lost my job at a small design studio. The company shut down after a financial crisis, and I was left with nothing. I moved back home for a while, hoping to figure out what to do next. Alina would visit occasionally, usually wearing her expensive outfits, talking on the phone with investors, and making sure everyone knew how important she was. One afternoon, she came over with her assistant. She sat on the couch, crossed her legs, and said she wanted to give me something. I was confused. She smiled and handed me a shopping bag. Inside, there was a gray hoodie with her company's logo on it and a $70 gift card from a department store. She said it with that smirk she always had when she wanted to remind me of my place. "Here's the hoodie and a $70 card. Maybe it'll help you buy something nice while you figure out your life." Her words hit harder than I expected. My parents laughed awkwardly, trying to lighten the mood, but I saw the pity in her eyes. It wasn't a gift. It was a message. She was telling me I was a failure. That I would always live in her shadow. I smiled back, said thank you, but deep down something broke. Or maybe something woke up. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at that hoodie. I touched the fabric. It was good quality. I noticed the stitching, the feel, the small logo on the sleeve. It was simple but clean. I realized that even though her company was successful, her brand lacked soul. It was cold, corporate, too perfect to be personal. I thought, what if fashion could feel human again? What if it told stories of real struggle, of real people, of revenge even? That night I decided I wouldn't let her pity define me. I would create something of my own. I sold the gift card online for $50. With that and some savings, I bought a few yards of fabric and used my old sewing machine. My room became a small studio. I started designing hoodies and jackets that carried a message. Each design had a small tag with words like "Rise Again" or "Built from Dust." I wanted every piece to tell a story of resilience. For weeks I worked alone. I designed, sewed, and tested materials. Then I posted some pictures online. The response was slow at first, but then one post went viral. It was a simple black hoodie with the word "Underdog" embroidered on the back. People loved it. They said it felt real, not commercial. I received more than 100 messages in one night asking where they could buy it. I didn't even have a website. So I stayed up all night building one using free tools. I called my brand Reclaim. It was about taking back your worth, your power, your identity. Within a month, I had my first batch of 50 hoodies ready. I sold them all in 2 days. I still remember the moment I shipped my first order overseas. It felt unreal. I was doing something that came from pain, but it was turning into power. My sister had no idea. She was too busy posting her corporate parties and luxury trips. But she would soon find out. 6 months later, Reclaim had more than 20,000 followers online. Influencers started wearing my designs. I got featured in a small magazine. One day, a well-known artist tagged my brand in a photo, and everything exploded. Orders flooded in. I had to hire help. I rented a small studio downtown. Every night I worked until 3 in the morning, packaging, replying to customers, improving designs. Then came the turning point. A big retail chain reached out. They wanted to collaborate. They offered a partnership deal that could bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was terrified but excited. I hired a lawyer and signed the contract. Within a year, Reclaim went from a small side project to a full-scale fashion company. And then, one morning, I woke up to a text from Alina. "Hey, I saw your brand online. Congrats." That was it. No call, no offer to meet. Just a text. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I knew she had seen what I built. What started with a $70 insult had turned into something worth millions. But revenge stories never end so easily. About 2 months later, Alina invited me to a business event. I hesitated but decided to go. When I arrived, she greeted me with that same fake smile. She introduced me to some of her colleagues, calling me my little brother who's doing some fashion thing. I smiled politely, but I could tell she was trying to minimize my success. After the event, she pulled me aside and said, "I have to admit, you've done well. Maybe we can collaborate. You know, combine your small brand with my big one. I can help you reach higher." I laughed inside. She wanted control. She thought I would say yes because she was still the CEO, the older sister, the one who used to win. But not this time. I looked her in the eye and said, "You already helped me once. You gave me a hoodie and a $70 card. That was all the help I needed." Her face froze. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. She just stared at me, realizing that I remembered everything. That moment felt better than any check I had ever received. After that night, things changed. My company grew faster. We launched limited collections, collaborated with musicians, and opened a flagship store in Los Angeles. Every piece we sold carried the same tag it always had, with words that told people to rise, rebuild, and reclaim themselves. We became known for our story as much as our style. 2 years later, a luxury investment group approached me. They wanted to acquire a portion of the brand for $6 million. I signed the deal. It was surreal. From a $70 pity gift to a $6 million company. Sometimes I still think about that night when I couldn't sleep, staring at the hoodie that started it all. But the best part came later. Alina's company began struggling. Their sales dropped. Consumers started moving toward brands that felt more real and personal. Her company was too rigid to adapt. I got a call from her one evening. Her voice was softer than usual. She said she admired what I built and wanted advice. I told her the truth. That success doesn't come from showing off. It comes from being real, from connecting with people, from starting with something that means something. We talked for a long time. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about respect. For the first time, she saw me as an equal. And for the first time, I forgave her. Because without her arrogance, I might never have found my fire. Now when I look back, I realize that revenge isn't about hurting someone back. It's about proving that you never needed their approval in the first place. The day I received that hoodie and that cheap card, I thought she had taken my dignity away. But what she really did was hand me the spark I needed to change my life. Every time I design something new, I keep that hoodie in my office as a reminder. Not of humiliation, but of transformation. It sits framed behind glass, with the tag that says her company's name. People who visit often ask about it. I tell them it's where Reclaim began. The irony always makes me smile. A few months ago, I was invited to speak at a business conference. It was about turning adversity into opportunity. I walked on stage in front of hundreds of entrepreneurs. I told them my story, from being mocked by my sister to building a multi-million-dollar brand. When I finished, the crowd stood up and applauded. I spotted Alina in the front row. She stood too. She smiled genuinely this time. That meant more to me than anything. Afterward, she hugged me and said, "You did it. I'm proud of you." And for once, I believed her. Not because she said it, but because I didn't need it anymore. I had already proven everything I needed to prove. Today, Reclaim continues to grow. We donate part of our profits to help young designers who can't afford to start. I often mentor them, reminding them that success doesn't start with money or connections. It starts with a reason. Mine just happened to be revenge. But it turned into something far greater. Sometimes, late at night, I think back to that young version of myself, sitting on the bed with a hoodie in his hands, feeling worthless. I wish I could tell him that everything he needed was already inside him. That one act of humiliation would become the story that millions would hear. That one hoodie would one day sit in a glass case inside a luxury office. That even when someone tries to crush you, you can use that pressure to turn into something unbreakable. I learned that revenge isn't always about payback. It's about reclaiming your worth. About showing the world, and yourself, that you can rise no matter who tries to push you down. And the sweetest revenge of all is peace. Because when you finally make it, the people who doubted you will remember every word they said. You won't even have to remind them. Alina still runs her company, though it's much smaller now. Sometimes we collaborate for charity projects. Our relationship is better. We don't compete anymore. She respects what I built, and I respect what she taught me. We both understand that life has a funny way of teaching lessons through pain. If you're watching this and someone has made you feel small, remember this. Every insult, every smirk, every doubt can become your fuel. Use it. Don't waste energy trying to prove them wrong. Build something so strong they can't ignore it. Let your success speak. Let your peace be your revenge. That hoodie and $70 card were supposed to remind me of failure. Now they remind me of everything I became. The kid who had nothing but a sewing machine and a dream now owns a $6 million luxury brand. And it all started with a smirk. So when people ask how I did it, I tell them this. Never underestimate what humiliation can teach you. Never forget what pain can build. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories begin when someone tries to make you feel powerless. And sometimes, the person who looked down on you will one day look up to you. That's not just revenge. That's transformation. That's my story.